Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm your host, Laura Dix, and this episode contains discussion on sexual exposure and harassment. If you are sensitive to this topic, please take care or feel free to skip. Yesterday, I had an experience that shook me to the core. I was sitting in my car after coming from coffee with my sister and my mother when a young man in his mid-20s decided to expose himself and then gestured towards me. I was in shock, I was scared, and it took hours for my anxiety to settle, even after I reported it to the police. In this episode, I want to tell you what happened, what I did. I want to tell you about practical safety tips and coping tools for after any incident. This is for anyone who's ever felt frightened, unsure of what to do next, and I just want you to know that you are not to blame. So yesterday, after having a cup of coffee with my sister, her new baby, and my mother, we had parked in different car parks. So they had come out, this is 11:30 in the morning, they had come out and gone to their car, and I walked down the hill to an open public car park, which I had done a million times before. And once, while I was having coffee, my grandmother had rung, so I sat in the car. The car's linked up to my phone, so I rang her through the car. As I'm sat there just nattering, I've seen this gentleman in a high-vis vest. There was like steps in front of me, so he was at the top of the steps and he was kind of walking back and forth. But I didn't think anything of it. I just carried on nattering away. And he sort of very slowly came down halfway down the steps. And again, didn't think anything of it. I was just glancing around as I was talking in my own little world. As he got halfway down the steps, he pulled down his joggers and exposed himself. Started masturbating. Now, this is free for anybody in that car park to have seen. It wasn't a busy car park, but it was full. There wasn't people around. So as I'm still talking, I've sort of glanced, looked up, sort of looked down at the radio, and then my brain must have thought, what did I just see? So I turned back as I was processing it, and it was exactly what I had seen. This was such a strange moment because I didn't want to alert my grandmother, who's in her late 70s, because she would have been absolutely petrified. So I didn't say nothing through her, only that she must have noticed the distance. And I was in complete shock terror. Probably because I live in a very sheltered bubble. And to me, things like this don't happen. I don't see things. I don't really hear about things in my immediate circle. He starts then, still carrying on what he's doing, but he's walking towards me now. As I'm replaying it back, I think it happened a lot faster than the way I keep reflecting on it. And that's what caused me to go into shock. I was stunned. I already had my seatbelt on. The car was already turned on. As he was about 5 paces from me, I reversed the car back and sort of tried to get out of the car park quickly, but obviously safely. I must have drove only a minute or two up the road, and I had to pull over. And I pulled over. This is silly. I pulled over in the only space I could find, which happened to be a disabled parking space, which, to be honest, they were not very well labelled in the area I was in. And then I was shaking like a leaf, then realised that I was in a disabled parking space, so moved. When I actually stopped the car, the tears were just in my eyes. They hadn't come to anything, and I was just like in a bit like, did that just happen? Just replaying it over my mind. Why literally didn't I take my phone and take a photo, take a video? Why didn't I go straight to the police there and then? The police station was closer than where I actually stopped. So I don't know why I didn't just go straight to the police station. I think it was general terror. Like, my body was in complete shock. Did I see what I seen? Was I over exaggerating it? You know, just all these things replay in your mind. I got home, I got in the house, and as soon as I walked in the house, shut the door, it was like as if I could breathe, and the tears. I told my husband, who was, I think he was a bit in shock, you know, like same as me, he was in shock. And I did have a little bit of a cry. And then I felt like I was shaking. My body felt like it was, I don't know, I couldn't stop replaying it in my mind. Like I said, he didn't do anything to me. Like, looking back now, I wasn't in any immediate danger. I was in my car. That terror hung with me all evening, like right the way through. So I spoke to 101, explained the situation, and the gentleman was absolutely lovely on the phone. He reassured me, and these incidences, however small, need to be reported. And the reason for that is because this could have escalated into something else. This person could start doing this, and his need could become more. If there's an incident, if they can find this gentleman, then they can prosecute him, which they asked me if I was willing to do. Would I make a statement and go to court? And I said yes. I have a 14-year-old daughter. I couldn't think of a more terrifying situation for her to be in. So that's the reason why it was a need. It had to tell them. So then later on in the evening, the police rang back and they went through a few things with me. The PC was looking at CCTV, and he said he could pull up the area. He was looking, he was going to do some scouting around, see if he could find some CCTV to actually identify the gentleman. I keep calling him a gentleman, but he so was not a gentleman. Now, one thing I want to make clear is we always think something like that happens is going to be some weird looking man with, this is how we've been stereotyped to think, some weird looking man, just grubby, I don't know, older guy. This is not. This guy he was mid-20s, he was clean shaven, his hair was neat, his clothes were neat, he was wearing a high-vis vest, and he had a litter picker with him. I genuinely thought that he was just somebody, I don't know, like just somebody waiting for the council. I think it's the terror that shook me so much of, as I'm older now, and the disbelief. But as I'm older now, we have this horrible mix of social media and the things that happen that we know about. I think years ago, whether I was more in denial or less educated, but I think our minds go to dark places now of, oh my God. What struck me, I think, and what really affected me emotionally wasn't just the act itself. It was the feeling targeted, the suddenness of it, and how powerless I felt in that moment. It left me shaken, upset, and honestly, I was angry with myself. But I do know that my reaction was normal. It was a trauma response, and it's not a failure. As I said, in that moment, my first instinct wasn't to grab my phone or confront him. It was to get myself out of that situation safely. I stayed calm in a way. I kept my doors locked. I made sure that I didn't do anything that escalated that situation. What made me feel safe was to drive away. That was my instinct, was to move, get out of the way. So the most important thing was removing myself from immediate danger as quickly and as quietly as possible. Looking back, I 100% wish that I could have had a picture or recorded him, what he was doing. But the truth is, when you're in shock, your brain does not logically think. It just thinks about survival. Survival means staying safe. If you ever find yourself in a similar situation, that's what I'd want you to remember. Your safety is your priority. Evidence, if you can get it safely, great, and it would be definitely helpful. But it should never come between protecting yourself. For me, reporting it and talking to the police and knowing what I had done was regaining some sort of control for myself. I just want other women to know that even if you're feeling shaky, even when you don't have all the details, reaching out and reporting it is still worth it. So here's some steps that I want you to take if you're ever in an incident like this. I want you first to prioritize your safety. I want you to get yourself to a safe place, lock your doors, drive away, move into public or well-lit area. Your safety comes before anything, even gathering evidence. Breathe and ground yourself. Take a few slow breaths. Remind yourself that you are safe now. Your body still may be in shock. You may be shaking, your heart may be racing, numbness. This is completely normal. If you decide to report it right away, if the person is still nearby, but you are not in immediate danger, 999. If you are safe and you want to report it, 101. This will report it to your local police. You can do it online as well. Share as much detail as you can remember. Location, time, clothing, appearance, direction that they went. I want you to note down what you can. Write it down, voice note it. Take as many details as you can while they're still fresh. Even small details can help the police. So if possible and safe, preserve any evidence. If there was something that was touched, connected with the incident, the car handle, if he had actually approached, avoid cleaning until after speaking to the police. But remember, evidence is useful, not essential. Testimony matters. And I want you to reach out for support, because calling a friend, speaking to a family member, or even a support line like victim support, speaking out aloud helps the brain to process the event. You don't have to carry it alone. Be kind to yourself. Shock, anger, shame, even self-blame, which I did to myself, is normal trauma responses. Remind yourself, I did what I needed to stay safe. You can use grounding and calming tools, techniques like box breathing, holding a grounding object, journaling to help you process your feelings. It can help bring your body out of this anxious state. If anxiety lingers or images keep replaying in your mind, it may be helpful to speak to a counsellor or a trauma-informed therapist. Support does not mean you are weak. It just means that you're taking control of your healing. Sadly, incidents like this happen more often than people realise. Reporting helps protect others, and speaking out breaks the silence. There is one thing I want to take with you after listening to this today. You are never to blame for something like this. Shock is a normal response. Freezing is a normal response. And doing whatever you need to stay safe is the right response.